Hey, this is Jeremy Schneider talking everything Golf Week and Tour Chicago. This is the Birdie Podcast, episode number 1. We've been talking about this for a while. It's finally here. Episode 1. It's April 3rd, Friday. My golf course is finally open. Round 1 will be later this afternoon for me. First guest in the Birdie Podcast, the legend, the one, the only, our own tour director. I'd like to welcome Bill Prosecky. How's everything going?
Going pretty well. My first round of the year is not today. It will be, I don't know when it will be, but I'm hoping it will be sometime between today and our first tournament on the 18th. We'll try to get out there at some point, at least outside. Been playing inside simulator for a while, but hopefully soon I'll be out there.
Yeah, I've done a lot of simulator golf this winter, but chipping and putting, there's no way to fix your chipping and putting on the simulator.
I hate chipping on the simulator. Some people are really good at it for whatever reason, but every time I miss the green on the simulator, I'm like, okay, well this is probably going to be a bogey now because there's no way I can hit a chip properly when you're hitting off this tight mat into a screen. It's all right. We're swinging a golf club in the winter months in Chicago, so that's about the only way you can do it is to go inside. So it's not bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to start with, this podcast is going to cover a lot of things. Player profiles is one of the things I want to get into with everybody. Hopefully, over the next few months, we'll get a lot of player profiles. We'll get to know a lot of the players on tour. So we're going to start with a player profile on Bill. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up?
I am born and raised right here in Chicago. So grew up in the city, one of those few people who actually is from the city and not say you're from Chicago, but you're really from a suburb someplace. Grew up on like the southwest side, just west of, about a mile west of Midway Airport, and got into golf pretty much my entire life. There's somewhere, I don't know if anybody still has them. Somewhere at one point in time, there were old like VHS home movies of me like swinging a golf club and hitting like those little wiffle balls in the backyard when I was like 3 years old. So always been into that. My grandparents were big golfers. So, you know, as soon as I could stand up and they could put a golf club in my hand, I had it. But yeah, grew up in the city, born and raised here, went away to college for a little bit, went to University of Missouri. But other than the few years I spent living down there, I've been in Chicago.
Awesome. Married, kids?
Engaged, no kids. Engaged for a long time, also together for a long time. So we met in college. So Ashley and I have been together for now 17 years or so. It's 2009 we got together. Dated through the rest of college. After college, trying to do like the long distance thing because I was up here in Chicago. She got a job out in Kansas City. Made that work as best we could for a little while. Then eventually got tired of that. She moved here. We got engaged in 2019 and then said to ourselves that we'd be engaged for a little while. Maybe next year we'll start planning a wedding. Well, next year was 2020, which was COVID, and the world shut down and you couldn't really plan anything. And then we just kind of never got back around to it. We started hearing a lot of stories from friends of ours who were spending all kind of money, like tens of thousands of dollars on a wedding. And we just never, we never saw the need to spend that amount of money on one day, basically, especially since we've basically been together for so long. So I don't know if we'll ever get back around to that and get married. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But for now, as close to being married as you can be without actually doing it. No kids as well, just the two of us living the corporate America life, basically.
Yeah. Well, tell me about your golf history. How did you get into golf? Where did you play?
So started playing, when I was as young as possible. It was interesting. My grandparents were big golfers, and they would, I don't know how this ever started. I don't know who had the connection at this course or what it was. I was a kid, so you don't really think about those things. But for years, they had like a standing group on Saturday afternoons at the old Payless Country Club in the southwest suburbs. And Payless Country Club is still there. It's a 9-hole course now, but it used to be 27 holes. And then eventually they sold it off and put homes on it. But it used to be 27 holes. This is back in, I don't know when they sold it off for homes. I want to say somewhere around 2000, maybe '01, '02 at the latest, somewhere in there. But used to be 27, and they would have like a standing thing every Saturday afternoon, and it was basically like they didn't even really had tee times. Basically, the course held almost the whole afternoon for our group of friends and family, whoever wanted to show up. 1 o'clock on Saturday. If you want to show up and play golf with the Radloff family, that was their last name, show up at Payless Country Club sometime after 1 o'clock, and you can play with us. So it was kind of an open thing for years on Saturday afternoons. Where I came into that is that I was, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. My mom was not a golfer. So she would bring me out to the course after they were done, maybe like, 5, 6 o'clock, something like that. There was one family friend, a guy named John, who would hang around after. Everybody would go to the bar after the round of golf, except for John. John would stay out and take me out for an extra 9 holes. So I get to play 9 every Saturday afternoon on a real golf course, which is a big deal when you're like 6 years old. And then when we were done, I would be out on the putting green while they were all inside, and I'd stay out on the putting green until it was basically dark. And then when it got dark, Mom take me back home, and that was my Saturday afternoon every week in the summer months between the ages of probably 6 and 11 or 12 or however old I was when Payless sold off the property. After that, the group migrated to a course that's now also closed called Woodbine Golf Course, which was out in like Lockport, Homer Glen area. That was actually my first job. So I got a job there as a cart boy when I was 16, and then was doing all kind of other stuff. I worked in the pro shop and all that. And with working there, you got free golf. So I was basically there all the time. I was either working a shift or I was on the golf course. They didn't have a range. Or like much of a practice facility. It was basically just the course. But if I wasn't working, I was playing. I was somewhere on that golf course, I was even if I was just slotting in between two groups that had a big gap between them. I was grabbing a cart and going out to play one hole if I could, or chip and putt around or something. So have always been kind of a golf addict in that way. No, and then life goes on, and then I get a real job in corporate America working a 9 to 5, and so now you can't really do that anymore. But as much as I can get onto a golf course now, I will. But that's sort of the history of that, is basically just always been around golf, especially with my mom's side of the family, all big golfers. So yeah, it's always been a part of my life for forever.
Yeah, I love it. How did you get into competitive golf? Did you play in high school?
I did play in high school. So I went to high school in the city, won a couple tournaments in high school, which was nice. Did not play in college because I went to a big school, I think. I didn't have the game to compete in a D1 big school, like University of Missouri where I went. If I'd have gone to a D3 school or maybe even like a smaller D1 school, might have been able to make it. But I tried to walk on in my freshman year, didn't make it. And then I tried to walk on in my sophomore year, again, didn't make it. And then in my junior year, I was like, that's, forget it. I'm happy just having the college experience. It just it wasn't a big thing for me at the time. I really am not 100% sure what made me start playing competitively, if I'm being honest. I know about like 2016, 17, 18 time frame, I started to dabble a little bit in some of the like independent tournaments that happen around the Chicagoland area. So like every year, Sanctuary Golf Course does the I-80 Amateur, so I've played in that, which I think they still do. Of course, down south in Crete, Balmoral Woods used to do the Will County Amateur. I played in that a couple times. And I don't really remember what made me just decide to do that, but for whatever reason I did. So dabbled in that a little bit. Also played a little bit on the old Golf Channel Am Tour years back, which is now defunct. And then enjoyed it. Didn't really do that well in any of those tournaments, but I think playing in them got me a little addicted because I would go out in like a casual round and shoot a good score, and then I'd go into the competitive round and not shoot a very good score, which for me was sort of that push to like get better. Because then it was like, okay, even if I don't have to win the tournament, but I want to go out here and at least play a good round of golf, right? I don't want to go out here and suck, basically. So then it kept me going at it. It kept me trying it out. And then after COVID, found the Golf Week Am Tour, joined it, and then like really got addicted to it to the point where, I was playing in like almost every tournament that Chicago had. So it just sort of built over time. That
So
that
addicted to it, you now run the Golf Week Am Tour.
Yes, yes, exactly. Put my hand up to run it when they were looking for a new tour director. I was like, okay, well, I think I can do it, so why not? But yeah, I will say it is a little bit of an addiction, at least for me, the competitive piece of it. Um, because you come out, you don't play good, you want to come out to the next one and play a good round. Even if you do play a good round, if you lose, then it's even more of a push. Like, okay, I played good. It's still not good enough. I got to get a little better now. I got to work on my putting. I hit a couple bad chips, or I made a couple bad decisions, or whatever. It really keeps you into it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So how many tournaments have you won in the Chicago Golf Week Am Tour, or actually nationwide?
I've only got might be a surprisingly low number for a lot of people to listen to. I've only won twice. I've probably got I should go back and count. I don't know how many second places I've got, but I'm sure it's in double digits. But I won one at Ravislow years ago in my first year playing it. That was a good tournament. So another champ flight guy, Luke Bohm, who he and I had a good battle that day. We kind of pulled away from the rest of champ flight throughout the back nine, and there was like one guy behind us who was maybe a couple shots back of us, but it was mostly a two-man shootout through that back nine, and I got one on him there, and then I won at Preserve, Oak Meadows, in a playoff, which was a great playoff against another good champ flight guy, John Hafner. We went 3 holes in a playoff. But then he got me back this last year in a playoff at Silver Lake. So we're 1-1 now. So somebody's got to win the rubber match. I don't know who. No, I've only managed to get two, so definitely looking for the next one. But I feel like a lot of times I'm up there. Every now and then, you throw in kind of a dud round and you're not there, but I should go back and look and see how many seconds and thirds I have because I feel like it's probably a lot. But only got two so far. Hoping to change that this year.
I do remember the Silver Lake one. I played with you on the final round that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And John was right in front of us, and he missed about a 5-footer on 18 to send it
Mm-hmm.
into the playoff. And you still had to play 18 yet. It was that long par 3.
Right. Over the
And
water, downhill over the water. Yeah.
you got it on the front of the green and made a good 2-putt from, had to be 60 feet to
Yeah.
get into that playoff.
Yeah. That's a tough par three because it's downhill, and I think the wind tends to swirl a little bit on that hole too because there's some really tall trees and you're hitting down the slope, so it's not that easy of a hole, and especially to have it as your finishing hole, par three, number 18, makes for good cinema for competitive golf, put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do a little what's in the bag. What are you playing right now?
Got Titleist, TSI, driver, and then also the 3-wood and 5-wood to go with those. Mizuno irons. So Mizuno irons 4 through gap wedge. Then I've got 2 Titleist wedges, 54 and a 58, which is maybe an interesting combo, but I got fitted for the whole bag a few years ago, and we landed on 54. And then putter, which has probably been one of my better weapons, at least last year, I would say, is the Ping PLD putter, which is the putter that I always used to tell people it's the same putter that Victor Hovland uses, but now he changed and he has a different one. But for years, it was the same putter that Victor Hovland had. But that's what we've got. Titleist driver, fairway woods, Mizuno irons, Titleist wedges, Ping putter. A little all over the place with the brands.
Nobody's paying you to play their brand, so play whatever works.
That's true.
And what ball do you play?
TaylorMade TP5X. I used to stick with Pro V, And then I remember years ago, I don't remember, this had to be 2010 or 11, I don't know. Whenever TaylorMade first came out with the TP5s, whenever they first started making golf balls. This was at the course I used to work at Woodbine. Made 9 holes with 2 balls because somebody was telling me, I forget who it was, but I know somebody was telling me about like, oh, you got to try these new TaylorMade golf balls. They're great, whatever. So I played 9 holes with 2 balls, one with the TaylorMade ball and one with Pro V. And with the TaylorMade ball, I shot 36, and with the Pro V, I shot like 41 or something like that. And so it was like, okay, maybe we'll stick with the TaylorMades. And I know that's nothing. I know that's just like me. I happen to make better swings, with wherever that ball happened to be, whatever. But that was enough for me to make the switch over to TaylorMade. So every year I'll get a couple dozen, stock up. So yeah, TaylorMade TP5.
And how do you mark your ball? Everybody should mark their ball. Everybody should have their own personal way of marking their ball. How do you mark your ball?
Uh, a blue slash right through, like diagonally through the T of TaylorMade. Not like all the way around the ball, just like one little slash. I don't know how I came up with that. I really don't. I think it was a very superstitious thing, because I've been marking my ball like that for years. And I think it was one of those things like I marked the ball one way and then I marked the ball a different way, and then one round of golf somewhere along the way I marked the ball like that and I had a really good round. And so then I just kept doing it that way.
Baseball and golf, very superstitious.
Yeah.
What other
for sure.
superstitions do you have?
Wearing something that is blue or bluish, like this would count. I would say this is like a lighter blue, but this would count. Something that is some semblance of blue when there is a trophy to be won. So final round if it's a multi-day tournament, or if it's a one-day tournament, then just in that round, whether it's shirt or pants or both maybe, something's got to be blue on the outfit. I don't know how I came up with that one either. Blue is definitely my favorite color, so a lot of things blue. So maybe that's how I came up with that one. But just one of those things that like you try different superstitions, and then when one of them works, then you want to do that same thing every time now. So yeah, blue slash on the ball, something blue in the outfit in tournament round. That's what we got.
Outstanding. Let's move into the tour itself. Big thank you for stepping up and being the tour director, because we definitely needed a tour director at the time, and things have made a big 180 in the last couple of years, and we're moving in the right direction. The tournaments are getting bigger, more participants. What do you have coming for this year?
So this year we've got a pretty heavy schedule. Um, last year was my first year doing it, and when I signed up to do it, they told me, like the folks in the national office for the tour, they told me that typically they like to see each tour have 10 tournaments. So I said, okay, we'll schedule 10 tournaments. And I didn't go beyond 10. It was actually much harder than I thought it would be to actually get the tournaments booked, because I'm doing it in the wintertime. I'm doing it in like November, December, January, and a lot of these general managers of courses are not there. They're down in Florida, they're taking vacation, whatever. They're not yet thinking about the spring and summer schedule. So it was actually not that easy to book these tournaments. So once I got to 10, I was like, all right, we got 10. This is what we're doing. The problem that we had, though, was that I didn't really anticipate was we wound up with a couple breaks in the schedule of like a few weeks at a time, and then we had a tournament get rained out. Like we went there, set up everything, we even teed off, first couple groups went off, and then, this is at Pine Meadow last year. Then big flash of lightning came, pulled everybody off the course, and then we never went back out because it just rained all day. So because that tournament got canceled, we actually had like almost a 2-month break on our local schedule between like the middle of June and like the early part of August. So we kind of missed the crux of the summer in Chicago. And so this year I said, all right, we got to have more, especially in the warmer months in July and August. So now we've got 14 on the schedule, including 3 two-day events. And the one 2-day that I'm most excited about is one that you actually told me to call this course back, and a few other people were asking for it too, to go back to Fire Lake and TPC Deer Run, because the tour had gone there a couple times in the past. I didn't do it last year because I was trying to limit travel and kind of just wanted to keep it local, build up a good base of players and members here before we started branching out. But we've got that one back on the schedule in July. So that's the premier event on our schedule, I would say, is the Fire Lake and Deer Run. But we've got a lot of others too. We've got, especially when we get into July and August, we've got like almost every week with something. So it should be a good season.
Yeah, I love TPC Deer Run. TPC Deer Run doesn't love me. I have not played well there over the last couple of years, so I'm very much looking forward to going back. And we're going back the week after the PGA's there.
Yeah.
So the greens will be
Something will
slowed down
be
by then.
Well, something will be up. I don't know what. They told me that the head pro there, they said it takes them about 3 to 4 weeks to take everything down, all the stands from the tournament. So we're playing there 1 week after. So I don't know what will be up. Some semblance of the PGA Tour stands will be there. Like I said, I can't tell you exactly what. I'll find out when we get there, just like we all will, but something will be there still on the course, which will be really neat.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. We did play there 2 years ago, and they were in the middle of taking them down. We played on a Monday and a Tuesday, and Tuesday at TPC Deer Run, and they were in the middle of taking things down. So I would imagine on the weekend, maybe they're not working, so they won't be actually out there working to take it down during the weekend. But the greens will be slowed down from what the PGA players are playing on. The rough hopefully will be mowed a little bit.
Yeah, I'm assuming they'll have cut the rough.
They have to cut it in stages from compared to what they have it on tour day. But the rough was pretty gnarly when we played there on a Tuesday a couple of years ago. Definitely looking forward to that. But what else do you have coming up for you personally? Where are you playing outside of Chicago?
Outside of Chicago, I would love to get a group together to go back to the regional event through Golf Week at American Dunes. That's the last week in May, so the weekend after Memorial Day. I feel about that course like you feel about Deer Run. I love that course, but that course does not love me. But I will be a glutton for punishment and go back again this year and play it again. So definitely going to Michigan for that one. We'll be going to our national finals, our national championship down in Hilton Head in October. And then I was trying to decide where else to go, maybe for one more regional. I was thinking about TPC Scottsdale, French Lick. Those are on the same weekend. So thinking about those. Other than that, don't have any golf trips planned just personally. Something might come up. I'm sure something will. Somewhere along the way, I'm sure somebody will say, hey, let's pop out somewhere for a weekend and play a couple rounds, but don't have anything right now other than the Golf Week regionals. So looking at American Dunes, I already played our first regional in Hilton Head in January. So looking at Michigan, thinking about TPC Scottsdale, and we'll definitely be back down in Hilton Head for nationals in October.
Very nice. American Dunes, I will be there. I'm also doing
Great. Nice.
Doing the one in Missouri down there.
Big Cedar Lodge, yes.
Big Cedar Lodge down near Branson. And then I will be in Scottsdale. Every other year I go to Scottsdale. In the opposite year, I go to French Licks. I've been to French Lick twice. I've been to Scottsdale twice. This year's a Scottsdale year, so I'll be down there.
Nice.
Points-wise, you get extra points for going to regional events. So how does the point system work exactly?
So point system is basically just kind of like the FedEx Cup. Within your flight, wherever you finish, you get points based on where you finish. Even if you finish last in your flight, you're going to get something. So what I always tell people is if you want to win the points race, if that's important to you to win the points race, I always tell people, even if you're having like the worst round of your life and you want to like pick up the ball and just quit, because we've all had a round like that, play it out and get some points, because the more you play, the more points you're going to get, the better chance you're going to have to win. But you get points for as many tournaments as are on your schedule, your local tour schedule. So we've got 11 single-day events and 3 two-day events. So if you're a member of the Chicago Tour, that's the maximum number of events you can get points for. 11 one-days and 3 two-days. In addition, you can get points for 3 regionals. You can play in as many regionals as you want. I think there's 12 or 13 on the schedule this year. Some of them are already done. You can play in as many regionals as you want, but you only get points for the 3 regionals where you finished the highest. So maybe if you played in one and you didn't play that well, you want to get some more points, go play in another one, and then maybe you'll bump yourself up. But at the maximum, there's a lot of events you can get points for, basically. We've got 14, like I said, on our schedule, 3 regional events as well. If you miss one on our schedule, you can always go to a different tour and make it up. So if you're down in, especially in the winter months, if you're down in Florida or you're down in a warm weather place, or even through the summer, if you're going to be traveling someplace else, they've got a tournament that you want to play in, or they're playing a course maybe that you really want to play, you can play in that tournament. And then if you miss one of ours in Chicago, the points you get from that away tournament will carry over to ours then. So there's definitely people who every year are doing the math and trying to figure out how many points they need or where they've got to finish in this tournament to take the lead, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about that going forward for sure as we get into the summer season and talk about points for the upcoming tournaments. The first tournament of the year is coming up when?
Coming up soon, Saturday, April 18th at Village Links of Glen Ellen. So a little bit of a different start this year. I think the past couple of years we've started at Cantini, but changing it up a little bit this year, going to Village Links, which I'm excited about. And I'm hoping that'll be a good one for us because they do a good job there. They host a lot of tournaments and outings and events and stuff like that. It's not a very easy golf course either. There's a lot of bunkers. It can get a little narrow, and some of those holes the wind can pick up too. There's a couple holes on the back 9. There's one hole I'm thinking of. I think is it 14 or 13? I think it's 14. It's a long par 4, and you tee off down the hill and then hit back up the hill to the green. But I feel like every time I've played that golf course, for whatever reason, that hole is into the wind, or it feels like it's into the wind. So sure, your tee shot is downhill, but you've got a lake all down the right side. You've got these massive fairway bunkers off the left of the fairway, so you can't really bail out to the left and try to avoid the lake because there's sand over there. And then in the meantime, you've got wind whipping right in your face. So that's probably one of the tougher par 4s out there, because even when you get to the green has a lot of undulation in it as well. So I'm excited about that one though. That's going to be a tough course, but I think a good one to start on because it's generally in pretty good shape early in the season as well. I've played it a lot early in the season, and it's always in, when you're in April golf in Chicago, sometimes you're a little hit or miss on the conditions depending on where you're playing, but that place is usually pretty solid. They've got a great restaurant and bar area after for hanging out after the round, and I'm hoping we get a good field together for it as well. So yeah, should be an exciting day.
Outstanding! I can't wait. 15 days from today, 2 weeks from tomorrow, ready to go.
Yes, I've had people telling me that they're ready to go, and I've been telling people the same, and it's like, I call all these courses and get this whole schedule together and do all this to get the schedule and the prices and get it out there and get it published and on the website and everything. And I had that all done this year before Christmas. In December, whole schedule for the year is done, and it's exciting when you're booking the tournaments because you're talking to the pros, you're talking about like how many people. You're some of these courses we go to maybe haven't heard of the Golf Week Am Tour, so we will kind of explain what the tour is all about, how we typically function, right? So it generates that excitement, at least for me, to talk to the head pros at these courses and get this all set up, and then just sit around and wait for 4 months until we actually can go out there and play. So I'm ready. I'm looking forward to it.
Outstanding. Well, thank you for being the first guest on the Post Birdie Podcast.
Of course.
This has been very enlightening.
Happy to
Can't wait.
Enlighten you. Yes. I can't wait for the 18th. Absolutely.
Can't wait to get it started. All right. Thanks a lot, Bill.
All right. Have a good one.